months off, and now we're finally to the contemporary times. So take it away, Linda.
I was almost not going to give this because I figured you all knew it, you know?
Last week at Bayshore.
I don't even know what happened last week at Bayshore. So I'm covering the period 2011 to 2025. Now the presidents are 44, 45, 46, and 47. 45 and 47 are the same person. The governors were Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jerry Brown, and Gavin Newsom. Jerry Brown served 8 more years. He'd already served 8 years in the 90s. I don't know how I thought you couldn't do this, but anyway. Our mayors were Bob Foster, Robert Garcia, and Rex Richardson. So in our world, the Supreme Court affirmed same-sex marriage in 2015, and the world turmoil continued. And this has been called one of the most violent decades that we've had for a while because of many school shootings. The Middle East was flaring up still. I don't want to say again, but we signed a climate treaty. Under Obama, we pulled out. We signed a nuclear treaty with Iran, we pulled out. Tariffs were established in the EU and China and then deferred. And as Yogi Berra says, it's deja vu all over again. California was in the middle of a drought, and our other big issue was immigration. Things were fairly quiet at the church. Charlie retired in 2013 after 26 years. And one of the fun things in our church at that period was an episode for the TV sitcom, The Mindy Project, not one I know of, but was filmed in the Gabrielson Chapel in March of 2013. And according to IMDb, you can buy a copy of it. Once Charlie decided to retire, many of you who are new to the church don't know that churches go through a process before we put a job description out on whatever we put it out on. And we hired an interim minister to guide us through a self-examination process. And it was a difficult task for us and for her. There were many discussions and workshops to create a church profile, which was kind of a description of where we were going, and what we wanted from a new minister. So here's some responses from the survey. 31 of us were under the age of 18. 61 of us were under the age of 50. And here's no surprise, 78 were between 50 and 64, and 109 were 65 and over. So there were 139 couples with no children at home. So we had reached the age where we had a large number of empty nesters. 78 people were single, and 8 were single parents. We identified ourselves as professionals and business people, but there were no farmers. And this guy from Iowa looks at this profile and says, hooray, there's no farmers? I mean, okay. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, okay. Total amount of debt, 0, and that has not changed. Total amount of debt, 0. Characteristics of our community. Long Beach had a population of 467,000. We are a beach community. In the surrounding area, this was in 2014, 51% of the population were in their 20s and 30s. And 92% of the homes in this area did not have children in them. So we were drawing from a different demographic than when Charlie came in 1987. Housing costs were rising. That's not new. Homelessness was a problem, hunger was a problem, poverty was a problem. And who uses our building? The Scouts, 12-step groups, jazzercise, yoga, martial arts, basketball, blood drives, polling sites, and community members use it for meetings. And what is it that we want in a senior minister? We want a senior minister who will inspire us with energy, new ideas, yet be flexible and collaborative in helping us achieve our goals. So Dave Clark read this and decided that this was his job. And in December of 2014, he was asked to become our senior minister. So those of you who were not here before Dave need to understand that Dave broke the mold. Prior ministers preached from the pulpit. Dave is usually center stage. Prior ministers wore robes, clerical collars, and stoles. So remember, we wanted a leader that would inspire us with energy and new ideas. And Dave had many new ideas. However, we weren't always as receptive as we should have been. Sunday afternoon services on the beach didn't work for some of us. But we did learn about Bruce Springsteen and the Cleveland Browns. And we spent the next 5 years sorting out our path together. Coffee with the Pastors, which was started under our interim, continued, and Dave added pub theology. And then on March 13th, 2020, the world shut down due to COVID. And our last in-person service was March 8th, 2020. No service was held on the 15th, 2 days after shutdown. But by March 22nd, our staff, our professional staff, had created a YouTube video that was ready for the world, and it went live on March 22nd of 2020. Chap, Rich Ramsey, and Dave set up a camera in the sanctuary. Tracy Wrights decorated the altar. Shannon sang, I think. The organist played, but not all at the same time because we couldn't all be in the same room together. And then it all got edited, and if you look on the YouTube channel, you can see that first service. It's still out there.
I gotta tell you, those early days were crazy. We figured it out, but at first we're like, how are we gonna do this? But everybody was so grateful and supportive, so.
Yeah, it was, if you look back at, I remember seeing you with your guitar in your living room or something, right? Yeah. And Susie in her living room serving communion. And this was a very creative group. They did not let the fact that we were shut down stop us. They became proficient at being set designers, lighting engineers, sound engineers. So we were very lucky. And the other thing that happened because of this is you stayed connected, you kept giving, and we were able to continue to pay them during COVID. We did not lose an employee during COVID. So we are very blessed for you and for all of you who did this. Julie, right? Julie figured out, and Susie too, how to keep the kids engaged. There were art lessons. Dave did the ABCs of Bayshore Church. Our organist had organ lessons, not on how to play it, but what an organ did online. Those are still out there. Julie figured out how to get all of the kids singing in their living rooms, but they were all online looking at us. We were very lucky. The other part of that was our lay leaders. We had a very dedicated group of lay leaders who met weekly. They tried to keep us engaged, which they did. We started the book club. That was probably really meaningful because we had a chance to talk about lighter subjects like Hallmark family things, you know. But we helped each other with technology. If you couldn't figure out YouTube, somebody tried to help you figure it out. We shopped for each other. We dropped meals off for each other. We decorated the front of the church. You could sit outside and talk to each other if you maintained your distance. So this lay group really worked hard to maintain this community, and I think we should thank them also. The rest of us were in our pajamas binge watching Downton Abbey or something, right? So, what have we done in the past 4 years? Well, nothing quite as exciting, but we've become stronger and more committed to this group and our community. We've had a successful capital fund campaign. We made a very difficult decision for some of us to sell Sky Forest, and we've become an open and affirming church. So in closing, let me say that when I started this, I had read a quote that said in 1924, someone said, "We need a church." We have a church. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda.